Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. I am Law Enforcement Chaplain Samuel Jepson. I'm a retired cop. I'm a full member of the International Conference of Police Chaplains. I'm a member of the Blue Knights, which is the largest law enforcement motorcycle club in the world. I happen to be the chaplain for the chapter here in Arizona, Chapter 6. And I'm also serve the Arizona State Chaplain Service, and I serve one of the largest and finest law enforcement agencies here in the state of Arizona. In 1970, I was involved in an accident, and I met an Arizona State trooper by the name of Gib Duthie. He was the first cop to inspire me to want to become a cop, and because of who he chose to be, he inspired me as to what kind of cop I wanted to be. The kind who would do his best to make a difference in the lives of the people he met. Sadly, just a couple months after I met him, he was killed in the line of duty. I spent 25 years as a cop, serving 3 different departments, and now I serve a 4th. They say that a police officer will experience more things in one 25-year career than a typical person would if he were to live 5 lifetimes. And after having gone through that, I believe that. 7 years ago, I was introduced to law enforcement chaplaincy by one of the greatest police chaplain pioneers ever. He is ordained minister and police chaplain, Dr. William Glennie. Chaplain Bill served 20 years as a cop, and he has been a police chaplain for over 40 years. He served at Ground Zero and at the Katrina disaster, and he is one of the finest men I know. I was further taught and inspired by another iconic police chaplain by the name of Mindy Russell, who serves the Sacramento Police Department. I've been asked several times just what is a law enforcement chaplain anyway? Do you guys work with prisoners or the inmates? Though I have spent over 2 years serving in the Arizona State Prison System in Florence, serving in the capacity of a church prison minister, where I directed the services for 2 yards, the answer to that question is no. Law enforcement chaplains don't work with prisoners, we work with the cops. Recently, I was posed the question, if you were stuck in an elevator with the governor of the state of Arizona, and he turned to you and asked you, just what is it you do? What would you say to him? Well, the answer to that is actually quite simple. You see, there is a scripture that reads, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And there's a scripture that follows that scripture that reads, "And blessed are all those that help the meek to inherit the earth, by thwarting those that would inherit the meek, for they shall be called policemen." And there is a scripture that follows that one as well that says, "And blessed are all those that walk alongside the policeman and help the policeman to help the meek to inherit the earth, by thwarting those who would inherit the meek." And there is a scripture that follows that one as well that says, "And blessed are all the citizens that support their local police." Now, before you run off and try and find out where those scriptures are, I want you to know that as a retired cop of 25 years, I know that inside every cop is a little boy or a little girl who grew up dreaming that one day they would be able to save the world by protecting the good people from the bad people. Now, when they become cops, do they change? Oh, yes, they do. The ugliness of the world changes them. The ugliness of the job changes them. And the ugliness of some of the very people they are trying to protect changes them. So what do I do as a law enforcement chaplain? I try so very hard to get that cop to hang on to that little boy or that little girl inside. God bless you for who you are and for who you choose to be. And God bless you for the things that you do to protect the rest of us. God bless you for walking that thin blue line that separates the good people from the bad people. And may He bless you and keep safe your families while you are out protecting the families of others. And may He bless your dear spouse to be able to understand the scars that you have deep inside that you pretend are not there. And may He bless you to reach out and to better understand how your spouse feels and what they are going through being married to a cop. And may He bless you to understand just how it feels to watch the very person they love slowly change before their eyes, and watch as you go from this once positive, forgiving, caring, idealistic, and loving person into a new, seemingly negative, unforgiving, suspicious, non-caring, almost distant person who seems to no longer need anyone else in their life. Yet inside this new, tough person, this new centurion, is still that same little boy or that little girl who once upon a time dreamed of saving the world. Now, that tough cop cries out for help when no one is watching. Too often, that cop seeks solace by separation from his family, or in a bottle, or on drugs, or in the abuse of prescription or non-prescription drugs, or in illicit relationships, or worst of all, chooses to end his life just to stop the pain. God bless you, man in blue, or man in brown, or whatever color your uniform is. Or maybe you wear a suit and tie, or maybe you work undercover. God bless you and thank you for who you choose to be and for all you do for us. And God bless you who serve alongside the cops in whatever agency or whatever field of law enforcement you serve in, or in whatever support personnel positions you serve at. Thank you for helping the cops protect the people in our community. And God bless you, the citizens who support your local police department and your local police officers. Thank you for taking the time to wave at them and tell them how much you appreciate them. Hating the police, arguing with them, trying to hold court on the sidewalk instead of in a courtroom, attacking the police, trying to hurt them has somehow become a new norm. And though the ugliness of that is really felt by the police officer, trust me on this, it is you, the citizen, that suffers the most from that, not the cops. So thank you for helping to make your community a better place to live by supporting your local police department and your local police officers. To you police moms, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for teaching your children to be honorable, to be great, to be supportive of others, to be caring, and most of all, to believe in God. Most people think that cops don't believe in God. That's just not true. Most cops do. I know very few that don't. Of all the great qualities it takes to make a cop, believing in God is the number one quality. Why? Because if we the people do not have godly men and women in those uniforms, then we have ungodly men and women in those uniforms. And you, my dear citizen, have an ungodly person walking into your life, walking into your lives, and walking into your homes and making decisions on what's going to happen to you and your family. Loving God, having a belief in God, is the number one quality for a good cop. There is no middle ground and there's no substitute for that. Without a belief in God, there is no deep belief in honor. So thank you, police moms, because America's standards for police work will always be set by God-loving moms. To you cops, I thank you for who you choose to be, and I thank you for stepping in front of the wolf for us. I thank you for setting the example. Never lose sight of who you are or the very important role you play in our life. And regardless of what some citizens try to make you out to be, regardless of the hatred that is sometimes spewed at you, always, always keep your mind's eye on the hero you dreamed of being as a little boy or as a little girl. You are the real Captain America. You are the guy on the Wheaties box. You are the guy that children can look up to for what a real modern-day hero looks like, and the example of who they want to be when they grow up. I thank you for taking the abuse day after day, and I understand the toll that it takes on your soul. But never lose sight of who you are or the oath you have taken. Because of the Posse Comitatus law, you, not the military, are the people's first line of defense. With around 750 to 800,000 sworn personnel someplace in some area, some branch of law enforcement, you, the American Thin Blue Line, equates to the largest standing army in the world. You are the protectors of the people. You are the centurion. You are the sheepdog. The wolf and the sheepdog look similar at first glance, but only at first glance. Both wolf and sheepdog roam the field, and both can be vicious. But where the wolf will run in packs and constantly looking for an easy mark, those they can sink their teeth into, the sheepdog, on the other hand, will watch over all those in the field, and he will protect them and fight the wolf for them, regardless of the cost to him personally. Where the wolf uses fear, intimidation, and superiority through numbers, and lives by the destruction of others, and where dishonor and disloyalty are his companions, the sheepdog only uses force when he has to, and he focuses on the protection of others, and God, loyalty, and courage and honor are his companions. Where the wolf will only fight the sheepdog when he has the distinct advantage, the sheepdog, on the other hand, will fight the wolf even if he is outnumbered, even when he is outsized, even to the loss of his life, just to protect those in the field. That's honor. That's courage. That's integrity. That's making a difference. When I graduated from the Phoenix Police Academy, then Captain Benny Click talked to us. This was back in 1979. But when I graduated from the Phoenix Police Academy, Captain Benny Click told us his definition of courage. He said, courage is the ability to move when all around you are frozen in fear, and no one would blame you if you did nothing at all. So I thank you for being courageous. I thank you for when we need a hero, you step up instead of step down. God bless you for that. Being a sheepdog is not easy. It has a tremendously negative impact on your soul, which directly impacts your family and your outlook on life. Learn to recognize the signs that you need help. If you have other cops starting to joke about the things you do, if you have sergeants that are starting to look at you, if you're getting an abnormal amount of citizen complaints, if you find yourself out of patience or driving more aggressively than normal, if you're arguing with your spouse or your family, if you're starting to bend the rules or the laws because you're getting sick of the perps getting off, if solitude or alcohol seems to be your best friends, if you're hitting the bars, or if you find your greatest source of peace pumping iron in the gym at odd hours of the night, if there is an undercurrent of anger within you that never seems to subside, or if the borders between right and wrong are starting to blur, start looking inward. Start looking at yourself instead of looking outward or at blaming others. When Christ told his apostles that one of them would betray him, all of them turned to him and said, "Lord, is it I?" Be willing to look at yourself and ask, "Lord, is it I?" Sheepdogs are type A personalities, and as such tend to think that they can handle anything that comes along. But that's just not true. From time to time, we all need help. So watch out for yourself, and watch out for each other, and get help when you need it. Resorting to bad choices because the pressure is getting to be too much is never a good choice. You have ecclesiastical leaders, neighborhood churches. Your department has an employee assistance program. You have police chaplains and more. All are great resources for help. But there is a source greater than everything already mentioned, and that is God. Whoever you believe God to be, reach out to him. Talk to your mom about him. She can help you. She already knows him, and she's never stopped believing in him, and she's never stopped loving you, and you have never stopped being her baby. Ask her about God. She will help you get to know him. Sheepdog, there are two biblical stories I want you to always remember. The first, when Christ entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him and asked him to come and heal his servant. Christ said, "Take me to him and I will." The centurion said, "I am a centurion. My house is not fit for you, but if you will just say it, it will be so." Christ turned to him and said, "In all Israel I have not seen such faith." Sheepdog, remember that it was a centurion that he said that to. The second story, when Christ was nailed to a cross and lifted up and crucified, remember that it was a centurion that stood underneath him on Mount Golgotha and said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." It wasn't a Pharisee or a scribe or some other religious leader of the day that said that. It was a centurion. Centurions, sheepdogs, have been hailed for good and for bad more than any other group of people in the history of the world, and have been from the beginning of time. So I thank you for not only being a centurion, but more importantly, for being a sheepdog. Not all centurions are sheepdogs, but all sheepdogs are centurions. So I thank you for who you choose to be. Remember your mission. Stay honorable, protect others, enforce the law, and make a difference for good. Best advice, lead by example, regardless of what your job is. Treat others as you'd like to be treated, and taste your words before you spit them out. And may God bless you and your families. And may you reach out and wrap your arms around the one you promised to love and cherish for the rest of their life. And may you hold fast to each other and not let the pain and scars of being a sheepdog tear you apart and destroy your family. Once again, thank you for standing in front of the wolf for us, and thank you for who you choose to be. So remember just how much you are needed by us. Remember that it is integrity first, that it is principle before privilege, that it is courage before cowardice, that it is honor before dishonor, and that it is loyalty before disloyalty, and that it is service before self. God bless you for who you are and for who you choose to be.